Hello to everyone gathered at the University of Minnesota Carlson School's Medical Industry Leadership Institute. I think you know I'd much rather be there with you in person, but there's just a few things going on right now, if you haven't heard, so I'm honored to join you via video. I'd like to thank the Carlson School of Management, the University of Minnesota Law School, and of course all the policymakers, faculty, and community members who've convened today to discuss how to combat the opioid epidemic. One of the most serious health crises that we face is addiction and the need to address this epidemic that is ravaging communities across our country. Entire towns have been brought down by it. On average, about 130 people die every day from an overdose involving an opioid. In Minnesota, there were 733 deaths from opioids and other drug overdoses in 2017. More than the number of car crashes and homicides combined. And all of you understand that addiction isn't voluntary. It isn't a character flaw, and there's no magic bullet to treat it. I understand what families struggling with addiction are going through. It's one of the reasons I've taken a leadership role in taking this on. My own family is like a lot of family story. Despite being a successful columnist, my dad struggled with alcoholism when I was growing up. I saw him climb the highest mountains, literally, but also sink to the lowest valleys. After 3 DWIs, he finally had to choose between treatment and jail, and he chose treatment. In his words, he was pursued by grace, something I think everyone deserves. Today, as many of you know, he's 91 years old. He's not drinking. His AA group still visits him in the assisted living center, and as he said about a year ago, it's hard to get a drink around here anyway. You all understand that there are no lost causes. No one is so far gone that they can't change direction and make a fresh start. And with the support of family and friends, treatment can work. That's why I worked on the landmark bipartisan bills like the Comprehensive Addiction Recovery Act, or CARA. When I started doing that with 3 other senators, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, people kind of patted us on the head. Oh, they didn't understand how bad this opioid epidemic was. It was finally signed into law in 2016, and it encourages states and communities to pursue several treatment strategies, and we put some money into it now, a lot of money. It includes increasing the availability of naloxone to save lives if there's an overdose. And while we're still making progress, there's still so much more to do. So last year, I also introduced CARA 2.0 to build on the momentum of the first bill, to ensure that states receiving federal funding have strong prescription drug monitoring programs in place, and to stop the doctor shopping that creates addiction in the first place. We must also address the pharmaceutical companies. They told doctors and patients that the patients couldn't get addicted to these drugs. Guess what they did? We've learned a lot since then. One of the documents that recently got released actually had one of the business people at one pharma company saying to one of his associates, hey, keep pumping it out. It's like nachos. It's like Doritos. They can't get enough. That's what he said. Well, you know what? People died and people got hooked. And we are going to have to take action. And there's settlements, there are lawsuits going on right now to ensure that the money from those settlements goes right back to treatment and helps those impacted by the opioid crisis. That's what I'm doing in Washington, but we need an all-hands-on-deck approach because I figure they got people hooked, they should pay for it, they got the money to do it. And that's where all you come in. We may have a lot of work to do, but I know that if we work together, we can make sure everyone has that second chance to get things right and has that chance to be, as my dad said, pursued by grace. We know what it takes, making sure there's limits on prescriptions, making sure that we're tracking it so that people can't keep going to different doctors, making sure they get the treatment that they need, making sure that drug courts are there for people that get into the criminal justice system, making sure they get jobs when they get over their addiction, and then making sure that it gets paid for by the people that got them hooked in the first place. And then I would add one more thing, and that's law enforcement, as we see fentanyl and some of these hideously addictive and dangerous drugs coming in. That's got to be part of the solution too. So thanks for inviting me to speak today. I'm really excited to work on this, not only based on my personal experience, but also that I know that people can in fact be pursued by grace, that their lives can in fact be better, but only if they have a community that cares. By being there today, by showing that you care about that, as well as, by the way, research and kind of the medical kind of research and technology that may be coming our way to make it easier for people who get hooked, that makes a difference too. Everyone has their own part of this that they can add in to make this better. And I want to thank you for gathering today. Thanks for your commitment. See you soon.